Heritage's winter auction just ended, and man, there's some incredible cards cataloged here. There was a Shoeless Joe Jackson Caramel 5 that sold. There was an Eddie Plank T206, if you know, one of the big four in that set. There's also an Allen Iverson card that I saw posted everywhere that sold for over $700,000. We're going to be taking a look at the top 25 sales in this video, as well as a few honorable mentions. And like always, if you did purchase anything in this auction, let us know down below. Always curious what the subscribers of the channel end up grabbing. So let's take a look at some cards. All right, so let's start off our list with a kind of a crazy card. I never thought we'd start a top 25 with the 1986 Fleer Michael Jordan auto. Now this card has an authentic grade. Taking a look at it, let's be realistic. If you or I were a grader, this would get a 1 all day long with this crease, based off of some stuff that I've seen. You know, sometimes these type of cards can get 2s. But, yeah, this should have been a 1 if it had a numerical grade. The autograph on this is a 9. You can see it's a bit faded in some sections, it looked like. But it's not about auto. And this copy over here sold for $46,360. I'm actually kind of curious what a 1 in this shape would go for. Obviously, all the value is getting this card signed because Jordan doesn't sign the 86 Fleer that often. And that's why it was big news last year when he signed all those high-grade copies and they got dual 10s and things like that. But, yeah, 46 on essentially a PSA 1 with a Jordan 9 autograph. Our next card is going to be a 51 Bowen Mantle in a 6. Looks like it's a thicker slab. May have seen this copy before. I've seen a few of these in kind of thicker slabs before. I mean, this is a pretty good looking 6, in my opinion, just taking a look at the card. I like the centering on this one compared to some of the centering that I've seen sometimes with 3s and 4s. Obviously, this is a 6, so a bit higher of a grade. And no gum stain here on the back. This one sold for $47,580. And yeah, what I do like is these price cards. Some of the last sales on this. So another 6 sold for $33,632.4. This copy over here sold for $47,800. I think a lot of it has to do with the centering on this copy. It's pretty nice. You can see some of the other ones in 2024, 40, 38, 32, minus that one copy over there. So pretty strong sale. All right, we're jumping into some basketball. Exquisite, 2003 Exquisite, number 3 of 25 of Dwayne Wade. No autograph, no jersey, just first year Exquisite in an 8. I'm not too sure why this sold for $47,500. I know it mentions gold and it's numbered to 25, so I don't assume that's like a normal base in that set. I assume the bases are like numbered to 99 or something like that, but let's see if it mentions anything like this. The gold parallel. And you have the pop report over there. So the 8's the highest graded. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have predicted this to sell slightly under 50 grand, but I do know exquisite collectors pay a pretty penny. Up next is going to be a T206 Cobb in a 7 bat on shoulder, Piedmont 150. And it is old cert. Let's take a look at the card. Does it deserve the 7 grade? I mean, there's a little bit corner damage over there. Still pretty clean copy overall. One thing I will say about Heritage is I love how close you can get to these cards. I wish all auction houses had that. Looks like there's some type of print defect right there and also right there. But yeah, slightly under 50 on this one. Does it have the pop here? Yeah, look at that. There's 4 7s and 1 8 out there. Great. We'll jump into a Patrick Mahomes. What is he going for, the 3-peat? I think I saw that. I don't watch too much modern sports on TV. Or I don't even watch sports on TV. Don't have enough time. But that's what I heard. Anyways, I'm jumping 10 on this copy. Rookie ticket, which these are always super, super popular. Autograph right over there at the bottom. Is this numbered? It does not look like it's numbered. This is just a base. Interesting. Yeah, sold for $50,000 in a PSA 10 grade. All right, so we are jumping into a 1953 of a common. Ellis, either Kinder or Kinder. And let's take a look at how this one looks. always with these, you want to check the chipping down over here. There's a little chipping, but I mean, everything shows with these type of cards, kind of like the 71s. This one sold for $50,000. New cert as well on this one. Flip it over to the back. I mean, it's a nice copy. Does have probably a little bit more chipping than I'd want for a 9, but I don't see these in 9s that often too, so maybe that's the tolerance you're allowed on these. And I'm not too familiar with them. It mentions the stats over here. I actually pulled up Baseball Reference just to show you guys here. So he accumulated 29 wins above replacement, had 100 wins, 3.43 career ERA. Debuted back in 1946, it looks like over here, and St. Louis Browns. Then played for Boston for a bit. Went back to St. Louis. Is that going to be the Cardinals? Yeah, Cardinals, not the Browns. And then finished with the White Sox, I assume. Yeah, White Sox right there. So overall, not the worst player for a common. I mean, still 30 wins above replacement, pretty good. And regardless, 50 grand on this copy. I assume it's the highest graded. Let's take a look. There's 2 9s. Yeah, there's not many 10s in the 53 set. So up next, we have a Christy Mathewson 7.5 portrait. And it's an old mill back, so definitely some premium associated with this. A little bit of a rare back on that side of things. I do like getting the off backs personally. I know the market has adapted to those, and there's a bit more of a premium now than there was in the past on these, but this is E75. I assume this is going to be highest graded with that 7.5. Look at that jump. The next highest is 3.5. That is a crazy jump. Yeah, I mean, overall looks like a pretty nice copy. Again, an old cert, if that matters to you. But I think this looks pretty clean. Okay, let me close out of these over here. And there's a few lots. I'm just going to include the lots in the top 25. And we'll keep going forward. So first is the T201 Mechas. You know, these don't have a lot of popularity, in my opinion, based around the design. I like the design on these quite a bit. It just goes into the oversized stuff. People don't really like oversized cards as much. It's a shame because there's some that have really great artwork. This is one of those examples, but this sold for $52,460 for a set of 50. So you're looking over $1,000 a card on average. But if you take a look at some of these grades, I mean, you're looking at 7s and 8s. I don't know how this would break down, like, specifically. And obviously there's 2 players on each of these too. You just fold them over. There's big names in this set. They're nice. Look at that, 8.5s and 9s. You just don't see those. What a beautiful copy. Amazing. And we'll flip over to the back so you can see what these look like on that side of things. And yeah, I don't know what these commons even sell for in 8s and stuff like that, or the bigger names. Wonder if there's any comps they mentioned on here. Only 1 6. 6 is the lowest, a few 7s, which are 8 cards, but I mean, overall, it's phenomenal. No comparables, unfortunately, but even just building that together in that type of grade is astounding. 56, I thought I was going to say complete set, but read it as partial set with checklist and gray back variances, sold for $57,000. I assume no Mantle, no Koufax, no Jackie, because it would have been probably in the first picture. And mentions all these over here. 6 cards being 9s. I mean, this is straight up for a set builder. If you're building a set builder, this is for you. Yeah, Aparicio. Yeah, so bigger names are probably pulled already. But let's take a look at some of these. What are the bigger names that are here? They showed Gil Hodges in an 8, Duke Snyder in an 8, Duke and Eddie Matthews. I feel kind of undervalued based on how good they were. People just don't go after their stuff as much. Robin Roberts, Shindis, Richie, One of those have to be gray back. Yep, white and gray back. Don Zimmer. Always remember his fight with Pedro Martinez, right? Checklist over here. Checklist in a 9 is pretty impressive. Giles in an 8. Brooklyn Dodgers in an 8. So 57. I don't know if this is a good price or not. If you know a little bit more about building sets and stuff like that, let me know. I'm obviously not going to price out all of these. It's too much work for this video. And I'm not spending $50,000 on a partial 56 set. So no interest on that side of things. All right, Old Mill Cobb in a 7. $61,000 on that copy. Let's take a look at the pop. Wow, there's actually 2 8s and an 8.5, and there's 2 7s out there. Actually, a lot more than I expected. Old cert, but let's take a look at the quality of the card. A little bit of corner wear there, corner wear there. Would this get a 7 today? Hard to say. I don't think it would, but it still looks very clean, right? I'm not trying to downgrade the card by any means like that, but yeah, 61. All right, let's jump into our next row. We're going to start off with a 52 Bowman Willie Mays 8.5. Something going on there. Super, super high grade. And what's the pop look like on this one? Did I mention? There we go. 6 9s. I knew there would be some 9s in here. Wouldn't be surprised if there was a 10, but there is not. 2 qualifiers on that side of things, but 4. So not a lot that are higher grades, and that sold for $62,200. Another Mahomes. This is a gold prism. People love their gold prisms. Oh, sorry, it is a gold optic. I was going to say gold prism, but either way, these are numbered to 10. Know that from the modern side of things. $67,100 on this copy. Crazy amount of money, but obviously Mahomes is considered one of the greatest quarterbacks of this era. Mikan SGC 8, $73,200. Probably one of the highest graded that's sold in a while, I would assume, right? Not sure I've seen an 8 sell in a bit. Obviously one of the most iconic vintage basketball cards out there. The 10 is locked up. 9 sold for quite a bit in the past. And yeah, there's no other recent sales for an 8. At least on here. I could probably check VCP or something like that. Which I'm actually kind of curious. Let me see what the last one sold for. We'll put it over here, Mikan. I'm actually really curious. That'd be a 8 sell. So it'll take a second. Just log in here. Anyways, while I go through all this, if you guys do enjoy these videos, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Try to cover all these major auction houses when they have bigger auctions. Not always going to cover the regional ones, or like not regional, but the smaller ones. So I'm looking up comps right now, and the last SGC 8 sold for $61,000 back in 2021 from Memory Lane. And is it a different cert? These are different certs. And then the last PSA 8s, wow, that's a big jump. The last PSA 8 sold for $147,000. That was in 2022, but then there was another 8 that sold at REA for $87,000 in 2021, and then 120 also. Huge price gap between the PSA and SGC 8s on these, but it's just to show you what that goes for. I may want to add in more comps in some future videos. Obviously, it takes a lot more work, but maybe we'll do that for some selected cards. 51 Bowman Mantle in A7. This sold for $73,200. Obviously, another important Bowman card. And yeah, I think this looks pretty clean. So we're going to jump into our next row. A Joe Burrow Rookie Shield from Immaculate. $88,450. Now, I don't know how well Burrow is performing. Again, I don't watch too much sports out there. I read headlines and things like that. The card got an authentic grade, but the auto has a 10 on it. I wonder if there's some damage or something like that, or they're fearing it's an 8. Typically with like larger cards, patches and stuff like that, it's very common to see these get 8s and stuff like that, and sometimes people don't like to see that on this slab, so that's why. And yeah, 88 450. Okay, we're gonna jump into 33 Gaudi of Gehrig in an 8. This is from the Rounders collection. I wonder if it mentions what the Rounders collection. Here we go. So flea markets, the Carolinas and Virginia, Southern card shows, Rounders 2. Okay, interesting. It has the past comps over here for 8s, so 100,000, 84. That one sold for 45. Oh, but look at the date. It's 2019. So probably the closest is this from 2024. And obviously not all 8s are equal, but about the same price, right? 99 to $100,650. I know we didn't really take a look too closely at the card. Some centering issues left to right, but pretty sharp corners. You will see centering issues with some of the Gaudis, even like if they have pretty sharp corners. Okay, we have a T206 Cy Young portrait in an 8. Great card. Great card. 103,000. Let's take a look at the pop. If it loads. Really, there's an 8.5. There's 4 8s. And yeah, no past prices. Oh, actually, there are some past prices. 99, 114. Well, that's in 2020. So this actually didn't go for as much as I thought it would be based off of these comps back over there. But again, these could be nicer copies. We don't know. Same card, actually. 0-3. And this is obviously a different card. But the same card sold twice over there for 114 and then 99,000. All right. I'm not going to cover boxes, part of the top 25. But there's a 1962 5th and 6th series over here. So we're going to jump into these top 8. We're going to start off with this Cracker Jack 1914 Thomas Wagner. 14s always will command a bit of a premium over the 15s because they're actually inserted with the Cracker Jacks. Much more prone to staining and things like that. The fact that this got a 6 is remarkable because a lot of these would have pretty bad stains on that side of things. 165 for the copy itself. I'm curious on the pop where this is at. If it loads, there we go. Wow, there's actually 3 6s out there, and that's the highest grade. So past sales on the 6. Wow, look at that. 2015, 10 years later, got 165. That is a crazy jump in value. So congrats to whoever bought this back in 2015 for 19 or 21,000. I wonder if it was the same card. 045. Different cards. Oh, this 116, is that the same as there? Look at that. 116. Purchased for 21,000 back in 2015. 8x right there. I know it's not exactly 8x, but 8x over 10 years. So congrats with that sale. Now we have more Rounders collection. That's insane. I probably should research the Rounders collection a little bit before the video, but I didn't realize on that side of things. I just took a look quickly at some of the cards. My favorite pose out of the 4 Gaudi Riths. I know this was probably double printed, but I still like the design on this one compared to all the others. It sold for what, 183,000 in an 8s. I assume that there's been a few sales of 8s. We have a 240 over there, and then a 312, 336. So this actually kind of sold cheap. The quality on this one is a little bit less. A little bit of a rounded corner. Maybe they thought it was going to go for a little bit more. I mean, it's still a lot for a card, but compared to 240 and 312, that is still a giant amount of money for a difference. All right, we're going to jump into the Eddie Plank, one of the big 4 cards in the T206 set. This got a 3. I don't think this gets a 3 today. I mean, with that corner right there, you're lucky to get a 1.5 or a 2. And this is obviously my opinion, just based off of stuff I've sent in. Personally, I probably would give this a 2 because it does look clean, although it has pretty rounded corners. But that would probably be the max. And that's assuming that there's nothing going on with the back. These are very tough to find, though. And 237 for that and a 3. Let's take a look. The last one at 3 sold in 2019 for $84,000. I mean, it's been a while. I wonder if it's the same card. 04. Nope. Nope. Yeah, so this card hasn't sold over here. It could have sold at some other auction house or anything like that, but solid sale price on that. And the T206s have gone up quite a bit, minus that one Cy Young that we saw. 1953 Bowman Color Mantle in a 9. From far away, it looks very sharp. Let's jump over to the back. This looks pretty good. $256,000. And third year Bowman Mantle. Let's take a look at these pops. There's 23 9s. There's 110. That kind of surprised me how many 9s there is. There's obviously one with a qualifier. Probably like a OC or MC on that side of things. But a lot more 9s than I expected, especially for that comp on here for 256. Another one sold for 234 back in 2023. That actually has less color. 042. I was gonna say it looks like a little dull comparative, but it also could be the scan. And that sold for 60,000 back in 2019. Yeah, look at that. When I called it, I'm like, it's probably MC or OC. That got an OC. I don't think that's too off-centered for that. Obviously wouldn't get a 9 without the qualifier, but look at that price difference. $3,000. But it was just a long time ago for that sale. All right, we're going to jump into our top 4. We have a Shoeless Joe Jackson E91 in a 5. Love this card. Joe Jackson will always have people going after his stuff. Doesn't have a ton of cards out there tied to the Black Sox scandal. I think his value will stay as high as it is. I think his value will actually go down if he makes the Hall of Fame. Sounds terrible saying that, but regardless, one of your classic pre-war cards, 292 on this copy. Again, I'm kind of curious what some ones in the past have done. Let's take a look at this really quick. Baseball, Joe Jackson. Look up some comps. And let me know also what you guys think about like throwing in some comps on the side of things. I find it interesting. I don't know if you guys like it or not. So the last PSA 5 sold in 2016 for 143. So again, it's doubled if you look at the PSA 5 comp. The SGC 5 sold in 2017 for 66,000. It says it was sold in Heritage, so I'm surprised it hasn't listed over there. I'm trying to see the image on this. Images are not showing up on VCP. Look at the 2011 sale. 2011 5 is in worse shape than this one that sold in SGC 5. That sold at REA for 33,000. The 32,000, I apologize. So just to give you some comps on that side of things, it looks like every 6 years there's about a sale in SGC 5. So here's that. The PSA 5, when did that one sell? That sold in 2016. So just to give you a comparison, these don't go for sale that often. And even a 1 is like I think a $20,000 to $30,000 card. So there's actually an authentic. Just got labeled as authentic. It sold for $27,600. It didn't look too bad. There's another SGC authentic. Looks like it has corners cut off, and that sold for $25,000. And a 1.5 sold for $40,000. So, and that was Heritage. And another one over here for $30,000. It looks worse than the authentics. I'd rather have the authentics at that point. So, about a 10x multiplier based off of an authentic or 1 for that 5. All right, so some of you guys don't care about basketball, but I'll still go through this. I know we still do that vintage basketball video here, and people watch the junk wax. 8.5 1984 star. These star cards have gone nuclear since PSA has been able to grade it, which is insane to me, right? It's the same exact card as it was in the past, but just because PSA grades it. I don't know. Not my niche. So $366,000 on this copy. And what, the 9 sold for $1 million, I think someone said, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since that news story hit when the 9 sold, but there's that at 366. Then we have a red PMG and a 5 of Jordan. Now the green I believe is the rarest, right? The green is like 10 copies. The red's technically 90 copies. Yeah, I think that's how it is. That sold for 378 and a 5. And these are like the 71 baseball cards. They're just so tough. And funny enough, I sold my first, well, not my first, but a PMG in my recent ComC video. Not a basketball one like this, just a modern wrestler. So I know people love PMGs, and they still make them today. They still sell really well, even as a parallel. So the highest on this, you have 5.9s and 7.8s. So not an easy card to find by any means. The most expensive card. I remember people talking about this. I did not know this was a $700,000 card. I mean, it's a number to 3. I think it's an Iverson rookie year card. But I want to read a little bit more what it mentions over here. This is the only one graded. Look at that. So let's take a look at what it says. So 997 essential credentials. Number 3 is ultra rare, highly sought after card Hall of Fame card. Limited 3 copies of this card features distinctive design. So it doesn't really tell you too much about this card. I'm kind of curious. Like, I assume they didn't have any one-of-ones. That's why this sold for that much. But this is outside my wheelhouse. I don't really collect a lot of 90s parallels and stuff like that. I never ripped these Skybox cards. I mean, I ripped Skybox in the 2000s, but not in the 90s. I wasn't even born in 97. So, all right. So that's this side of things. Let's just go through the page, see if there's anything else. What I will do, too, is go through a few other sections. We'll pull up a few cards and go through that. So there's that side of things. That's the last name I cannot pronounce. Throw that over here. Take a look at that. That looks like a terrible design. Oh, it's a manager. I know like Warren Spahn has like a balding card. It looks terrible. But Joe over here in a 10 for the Pilots. Sold for 20 grand. What I'll do is still jump into non-sports. I think when I was looking at this auction initially, there was nothing in non-sports that interested me on bidding, which doesn't mean there's not good stuff in there. I collect a very distinct amount of stuff. So, where is this at? Sports category. We'll jump into non-sports. Oh, there wasn't much. There was only 72. Oh, this is what I saw, which I wanted to bring up. All right, we'll jump into a few things. Ramley, Walter Johnson. I think this is a pretty nice looking 2.5. What you see a lot of these is like really bad chipping. This almost kind of looks undergraded in my opinion. Could there be creases and stuff like that I can't see? Sure. Sold for $34,000 on that side of things. Up next, we have a pack with Koufax on top. And it says Mantle visible. Is Mantle in the back? Look at that. What a pack. $30,000 for that sale. That's super cool in my opinion. Up next, Johnny W. 1952 tops in a 9. 21,000 on that copy. We're jumping into non-sports. Up first, we have a 52 Look and See set. Number 9 current finest on the registry. $41,000. If you want to learn more about Look and See, 2 ways. Number 1, I have a YouTube video here on the channel. Number 2, there is an article I wrote for Tops Ripped, which you can also take a look at. Just search Tops Ripped 52 Look and See. You'll learn a little bit more about the set. And yeah, so what I think I saw on this when this was posted on social media is there's a bunch of 9s, which 9s don't sell that often. So that is probably where a lot of them value was on this side of things. Roosevelt in 9 is a really, really nice card. I want to say a few years ago that sold for like 5,000. And I'm just going to look at this really quick. Look up the comp on that. Non-sports. Good old Teddy. All right, and we'll jump into 1952. Look and See. Great. So the last 9, I was actually wrong. It sold for $780, but that was in 2019. We'll look up some other presidents. Jefferson probably should be pretty good too. If there's any comps. It's hard to take a 6-year-old comp on Teddy. Jefferson in 9 sold for $440. I wonder if that's the same Heritage auction. 2019. I wonder if these are... No, these are different certs. But again, way back over there. Edison in 9, Curry in 9. And there's some really nice stuff in here. Morse, Newton, Napoleon. I mean, this is incredible. Rockefeller. Unfortunately, it's an OC, but the 9 on the Rockefeller was like $2 grand. Sitting Bull. Let's see if Sitting Bull has a comp. I'm actually curious. But again, if you think about it, all these 9s a few years ago, $500 plus for some of these presidents. So Sitting Bull sold for $432. I assume it's the 2019 auction. 2019 Heritage had a ton of 9s sell, and that was cert 404. So these are all different certs. Really, really great on the side of things. For the stuff that wasn't pictured, I wonder if they're like 7s and 8s. You have 6s there, 7s. What was the Ruth in here? The Ruth is the most expensive card in the set, which is funny because it's a non-sports set. So the Ruth is an 8. Fortunately, with the VCP, you have to go to the baseball side of things, but it's all right. We'll do look and see over here. Let's see what the 52 goes for. So Babe Ruth, the 8 alone sells for, last one was $3,750, and the one before that was $3,400. So I do think there's a lot of value just having all this together, because this is a very registry type of set where people will bid up just for higher grades. But I thought it was pretty cool to share it with you guys. Also, I talked about in the video the UK knockoff of the Look and Sees, which is funny. They reproduced them later, and also there's Look and See that were printed in Canada, but you can't tell the difference. So anything else on here? There's an uncut sheet. OPG Star Wars sold for $6,000. Billiards player, 8. Complete set. What did this sell? I mean, it's a 4. So, in my opinion, someone overpaid for the complete set, getting the 4 and 5. If I had a 4 and a 5, I'll send it to Heritage, because that $1,000 is crazy. But then again, there's the 20% buyer's premium. So, anything else? Some original artwork for Wild West. Heritage has gotten a lot of original artwork. The obscene air card, that's kind of funny description, but $524. Old cert there. That's kind of it for non-sports. Fortunately, no 1800s cards, but yeah, well, to get on non-sports, we'll look really quick at what other things. So we'll go to other sports too, because that is a new video I've been working on. Is there anything here really worth mentioning? There's not much. I mean, there's some hockey cards. Well, these are the lacrosse. All right, that's this other sports. We'll look at one more category. Where's this at? Sports category. Let's look at football. I don't think we covered many football cards. We covered these, not vintage-wise. Walter Payton autograph. I feel like I've seen this card sell before with the autograph to the left side. That sold for $30,000. A 1959 Bobby Mitchell in the 10, $11,000. That's interesting. A Mahomes printing plate. I wonder if those were signed post-pack or signed and inserted into the pack. Bob Waterfield. Wow, I did not know his autograph was that tough. I'm going to actually pull that one up and read a little more about it. 59. Like, there's a ton of set collectors. Oh, I didn't know. University of Michigan postcards. I was about to say, those postcards look very familiar. They look like they have the baseball postcards from those. I did not know those were that expensive. We'll jump into that. I'll jump into that too. Anything else? Look at that PMG 1997. I don't even know who this player is. It's a green PMG, sold for $2,000. And I'm sure someone's gonna roast me and say, "How do you not know this player?" Listen, I don't know everything. All right, so Waterfield first. Wow, he only has, what, 2 autographs? Interesting. That's why it sold close to $5,000. Huh. When did he pass away? Waterfield passed away in 1983. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense why there's not a lot of these that are signed. $5,000. Learn something new. Okay, so University of Michigan postcards. I don't know any of these names, but I also didn't know these were that expensive. 13 of these sold for $3,500. Featuring Fielding Yost, who is the coach for Michigan, considered one of the greatest football coaches of the early 20th century. 6 national championships. See, I just learned something that, look, inaugural class College Football Hall of Fame in 1951. Well, I did not know that. I wonder how much of the value was associated with that. I wonder if he has other cards or postcards out there. You learn something new every day, right? And that's why I sometimes click on some of these weird lots to try to learn something. Is there anyone in here that has anything else? These are Missouri. Doesn't mention anyone, but set of 16 sold for $2,800. I think there's more value here if that has one of the winning. I think there's more value here if it has one of the winningest coaches of all time. Fielding Yost. Which one is that? Let's take a look. Or Yost. Here we go. That card right there. That's pretty sick. And let's see. 1907 stamp. Cancellation on here. That's sweet. I wonder if it's an interesting note or not. Might not be. All right, we'll jump out of these. I know most people don't care about like oddball stuff like that, but I kind of like the oddball stuff. I think that's what I'm going to go through with this auction. We'll look at baseball, and we'll end off this video. I don't want to ramble too much. Sometimes they can go like that with these auctions, but sports category, we'll go baseball. We'll jump one more page. See anything, we'll click on it. If not, so we'll call it a video. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed it, and let me know if I missed any other auctions. I might cover, I think there was Mile High and Brockelman that also just ended, so if you guys do want to see those recaps, just let me know and I can record them. We have the 6 eBay videos coming out soon for different categories. A lot of stuff coming up, but yeah, I think we're gonna call it after that. I didn't know Jeter was in this. That sounded dumb, but I'll keep it in here. End of video, missed a Hannes Wagner postcard, $8,000. But yeah, that's it. Thanks, guys.